Now we're ready to decorate the black cardstock pages in our mini album, and I'm going to treat this as the side where the 4-inch flap comes on. This will be one side, and then this other side I'm going to treat a different way. And so we have 4 opportunities to decorate. Because there are 4 pages, each with the 2 sides. So on the front side, and I call that the side with the flap, I'm going to use from the journaling cards one of the large vertical images and one of the smaller vertical images. I'll trim off any black that I see on the edges of the cards and go ahead and ink them. And then I'm also have prepared here some little circles, and these are 1.25 inch black cardstock and then a 1-inch circle of pattern paper that I inked the edges on. Then I also have over here 2 of our 3x4 watercolor papers that we cut. Now, to start with, the starkness of my thread here bothers me a little bit. If it doesn't bother you, you can skip this step. I'm just going to take some marker and kind of hit on that. Now, this is waxed linen thread, so the marker won't stick perfectly, but what I'm going to do is let it sit on there for a few minutes, and then I'll take a tissue to it several times until my tissue doesn't show any black on it anymore after I do that. So I'll trim my cards and then I'll be back. So first I'm going to put this large image on the flap here, and I've just stuck a piece of white cardstock here behind it so that I can see the edge more easily. And this should be slightly smaller than 4x6, and this black piece is 4x6. So I should be able to have a tiny reveal coming along the edges there. And I just used some ATG on the back of this. There's no need for score tape in my opinion. So there's the outside flap. Now remember, this piece over here is the part that's going to go inside of our cover, so we're not going to do anything with that. Now here, my thought is I'm just going to leave the black cardstock, and I'm going to have that image there, and then a place for 2 of my 3x4 watercolor papers on the other sides. And then these little discs, I'll put glue on 1/2 of them and stick them down so that these little pieces of watercolor paper can be removed to work on, and then you can slip them back in. So to start with here, I'm just going to basically center this sheet of watercolor paper here, and then put glue on probably the top third of the disc, and put it in place and hold it there for a second. Make sure you don't have glue close to where the watercolor paper is, because you don't want to get that attached, and then put one on the bottom as well. So I just turned this on the side and used my 1-inch ruler to measure up from the top and the bottom, and then I've just got a couple of clothespins holding it in place while I glue my little discs on. Now on this 7-inch section, I'll again use my little 1-inch ruler to kind of hold my pieces up from the bottom here with the right border, and then just kind of eyeball so that I've got the black space here divided into thirds. First I'll attach this journaling card with just some ATG, and then I'll follow the same procedure to add my little tabs here for the watercolor paper. So here's the front side of this page complete. On the flap we have this image, and then when we open this up we see our opportunities for some mixed media and another of the journaling cards. On the back side of the page we're going to have a pocket, and this pocket will be made out of black cardstock, but just again so that you can see things more easily, I'm going to demonstrate with a piece of white cardstock. So the cutting guide tells us to cut 4 pieces for our pockets, and they're each 3 5/8 by 8 1/8. And then with the 8 1/8 side oriented toward the top, we're going to score at 1/2 inch, and then at 5/8 inch, and then we want to do that on each end, so I'll flip it around and do 1/2 and 5/8, and then on one long end only, so I've got the 3 5/8 inch side on top, I'll score it 1/2 inch and 5/8 again. So this is going to give us a pocket that has 1/2 inch tabs and then 1/8 inch gussets all around. So I'll go ahead and crease on all of my score lines. And once I have those creases made so that these tabs we can see are going to come here to the back, I'm going to open it up. I'm going to put 3/8 inch score tape on those tabs, and we're putting the score tape on as we're looking at it from the front. So here I've attached my score tape, and you can see how this is going to work. When we fold those tabs to the back, then that score tape will be in the correct position to hold it down. Now we want to do a little mitering and trimming on our corners, and I'll zoom in so you can see that better. So I'm down here at this corner, and I have my 2 1/8 inch channels and then my 1/2 inch pieces, and I want to come right to that inside corner, and I'm going to come straight across the 1/8 inch, and then I'm going to come at a 45-degree angle. And then I'll repeat that over on this side, come straight for the across the 1/8 inch, and then come at a 45-degree angle. So I think you can see that now. There's a little square notch there, and that'll make that corner so that it comes in nice and square there. So I'll repeat that on this other side over here, and then just up here on the top, starting, so I'm leaving the 1/8 inch channel alone, and then I'm just going to come at a slight angle away from the top there. So here's my black cardstock piece, and I think you can see the corners here have been trimmed like I just showed you, and I want to put some decorative paper on, and I think it's easier to do this before it gets installed. I like to have a little reveal about a 1/16 of an inch or so around. You can make yours any size you want. So this would be a 1/16 less than 6 3/4, and then this way I'll make that 2 7/8. So I'll get that piece cut. So I folded back all my 1/8 inch channels so that I can see the edges of the front, and I've prepped my piece with some ATG on the back, and I'll go ahead and get that installed. So here's my piece with the paper installed. I've given it a good burnish, and now I'm ready to install it on the page. Now when I do this, make sure you keep your it's maybe hard to see here, but those 1/8" channels so that you're not installing this flat when you put it on. And it's a little bit shorter than the width of this page here, and that's by design to give you a little wiggle room. And what I usually like to do is remove the tape backing on this bottom piece first and get that installed, and then I can put the other two sides in. I think you can see here that I just put a spare piece of white cardstock here behind this. You could also flip out the sides so that you're not getting any interference with this black edge. I just like to be able to see exactly where I'm going. And then once I got it installed, I reached in with my bone folder and burnished those two tabs down. And then to finish off the top of this page here, there's no need to cut a long piece of paper here. I've cut a piece that's 4 inches long by 6 3/4 wide. And I've just prepped it with some ATG on the back. And then I can just kind of slip it into the pocket until I get that reveal that I want all the way around, and then burnish it down. So that's the pocket side of the page, and you of course could embellish this with trims or whatever you desired. So now I'll repeat these steps on the other 3 pages. To make the pocket inserts, I cut black cardstock for the large ones, 4 1/8 by 6 1/8, and for the smaller ones, 3 1/8 by 4 1/8. Basically 1/8 of an inch bigger than the journaling cards that I'm using. And then I'll just attach these to the front, centering them with some ATG, and I did go around the edges with my black marker here first, and you can ink if you so desire. So here are my 2 sizes of inserts, and they can either be used for photo mats. You can put a photo on the back side, or if you wanted to and had some extra watercolor paper, I'm just using some temporary adhesive to put them on the back for now, so that you can remove it if you want to work on it, and then you can fasten them down permanently. So I'll make 4 of each kind so that I can have a large one and a small one in each pocket. And then once the book is finished, you can see if there is room to have some more.